If you have had the thought, oh my goodness, I need some better systems in my business. I need to be more efficient, need some better systems. But the thought of a new software or a new tool and a new expense of it and learning and all of that, the implementation of getting something set up in your business has you overwhelmed so you don't do it, this is for you. I'm doing a little front porch sitting right now, thinking about you and your business, which I do often. And I was like, you know what? We're just going to record this right now. If you're listening to the audio podcast, you can't see that I'm literally sitting on my front porch. But if you're watching the YouTube video, then you can see that we are just going to have a candid conversation right now about systems and specifically about efficient systems in your business and why we resist them. We're also going to talk about why we overcomplicate them. And this is a topic I've been coaching on a lot with my clients recently for whatever reason. So if it's coming up for them, it's coming up for you, and I knew we had to talk about it. If we haven't met yet, my name's Andrea Nordling. I am a nutritional therapy practitioner and business coach for holistic nutritionists and health coaches, help you make more money, work with more clients without burning yourself out or relying on social media in the process. Big reason people burn out is feeling overwhelmed and doing way too much. So let's make sure you aren't doing that. And let's make sure you do have efficient systems in your business that are easy for you to use. So jumping right into it. What is a system? Why do you need a system? Does it have to be hard? Does it have to be a software in the first place? No, of course not. A system is something that makes your life more efficient. It's something that saves you time and saves you repetition, so it saves you brain power. That's what I want you to think about when you think of systems in your business. It's the stuff that you do repeatedly, but it is easier for you to do, it's easier for you to get done, and your brain isn't going to resist it. So systems are ways that we manipulate our brain. Really, and we need to lovingly manipulate our brain. Otherwise, if left to our own devices, we will never reach our potential because we will do the easy things, we will not do the hard things, and that's just how it is to be a human. So what is the easy thing for you? What is the hard thing for you? For me, something that's easy is big picture vision type stuff. Like I'm really good at that. I'm really good at big picture strategy. I'm really good at making a plan. I hate the details. And I mean, I hate the details. Like I hate the actual minutia that is executing the plan, doing the little nitty gritty things, making sure that the links work, making sure that the right words are in the right places, doing all of the little stuff. Hate it. I absolutely hate it. You might feel the same way. So if you are like me and you really resist those details, you hate it, you will look at your to-do list for a week or a month or a day. And what will you do? You will pick up the easy things to get done. And you'll do those first. And then the big hard things, like the big brain stuff that you know has a lot of details involved, you'll leave those for last. And then last becomes tomorrow, becomes the next day, becomes the next week, becomes the next month. And we punt those tasks indefinitely because they're overwhelming and they're hard. And it's like, oh, this is going to take so long, or this is going to be so hard to figure out. And so what I mean when I say you need to lovingly manipulate your brain is you need to know why you resist things in the first place. I promise we'll get back to systems. It will all make sense. But first, let's just look at your brain. Why do you resist it in the first place? For me, I'm going to keep using myself as an example because when I've been coaching my clients on this recently, it has been very helpful for them. The reason I resist is because it's going to take too long or it's going to be hard. And I say it in this whiny voice to myself like that. It's going to be so hard. Oh, I'll do it later when I'm ready to do a harder thing. Well, later never comes. So the question is, what's hard about it? For any big task in your business or anything that you're resisting, or in your life, but we'll talk business for now. Just answer the question, what part of this is hard? Depending on what it is, for me, it's oftentimes I'm going to have to go figure something out that is going to be cumbersome. And I tell myself, oh, that's going to take too long. I don't have time for that right now. I'll have time for it later. What is the thing I have to figure out? Well, sometimes it's as simple as what website do I need to log into? And I know I'm not going to know the password and that's going to be annoying. And I'm going to have to go do a reset password thing. And that sounds really hard. And then I have to remember where even is that? And I don't have the links and all of these things I could tell myself are so hard. And then I don't do them. So the systems really to be set up are around things that are hard. And a system isn't always a software, though sometimes it is. So in that example, something that's been really transformative in my business is having a solution called 1Password. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I think that I'd have to now that I use the password example. 1Password is where every single password for everything in my personal life and our business, our whole entire company, is stored in 1Password. I have it on my phone, I have it on my computers, and anytime I have to log in anywhere, I just have to remember the password to 1Password, which even uses my fingerprint, which is really helpful, and I get the password everywhere I need it. So things are a lot easier. I have so much less resistance to doing certain tasks in my business that I know I'm going to have to log into a software or two to do because I know I'm going to know the password. Such a simple example, but really, this is the manipulation we're talking about. It's like getting over the hurdles. Where are the hurdles? Is it that it seems like a really big task? I'm going to take outlining a video or a podcast episode, for example. So in outlining a podcast episode, I spend a lot of time on the outline, figuring out what the title is going to be, what am I going to talk about. Then we do emails that come out after the podcast episode that promote those. So I have to write those emails. And there's probably 25 other steps in between. But ultimately, do podcast episode is a really big task because there's lots of subtasks in there and there's lots of different areas of my brain that need to be used. There's also different people on my team that do tasks there. But even when I was just doing it myself, it's like I have to be in research mode on a title. I have to be in creation mode for the actual content itself. And I need to be in a creative space to do that and like decide what I even want to talk about. Then there's the copywriting for an email. That's different. Like there's just so many different skills. I want to say skill sets, but that's not really the use. Like different areas of my brain, different task types really is what I'm trying to say. And trying to do them all at once is overwhelming. And who does that? Nobody. So if I just had on my calendar, for example, do this week's podcast episode, I will never tackle the task because that is so hard. My brain is like, that is too big. That's a tomorrow problem. And then tomorrow it will be the next day's problem and the next day's problem. So what I do is I create a system around it. The system for me is to batch my time. So I outlined 3 or 4 podcast episodes at one time. I don't worry about writing any emails about it. I don't even worry about what the exact content is going to be in there. I'm not scripting it. I am just outlining like what is it that I want to talk about in these episodes. That happens in one block of time. And to me, when I look at that on my calendar, I'm like, I could do that. I can crank out 3 episode outlines. Okay. I don't have resistance to that. Then there's another time block on my calendar that is creating 3 emails to promote 3 podcast episodes. And I look at that and I'm like, okay, yep, I can do that. There's another line item that's whatever else needs to happen in the process. I can't even think of the process unless my calendar is in front of me. All that to say, I'm not creating a script and an email promotion and an outline and figuring out the topic and recording it on the same day. My mind would explode. I would never get to that task. You wouldn't either. So don't expect yourself to. Don't put that on your calendar. You'll never attack it. Break down big tasks into the tiny components so that when you look at it on your calendar, you see, oh yeah, I can get that done. Now maybe, doing 3 at once isn't what you would do. Maybe you wouldn't batch it in that way, but 1 outline today, recording tomorrow, and doing the promotion the next day is totally doable. You can look at your calendar and see, okay, this is what I have to do with this right now. Don't have to do it all at once. It's this tiny little subtask that I can get done, and I have the brain space for that, and I will prioritize it versus, I see people do this all the time where they're like, I'm going to write this month's emails, and I'm going to do it today. Like, what are you writing the emails about? Well, I don't know. I have to figure that out today. Okay, so you don't know the topic of the emails. You don't know the content of the emails. You're going to do both of those things and then polish them up, edit them, and get them uploaded into your email software today? All of that today? No, you're not. No, you're not. So don't lie to yourself. Don't do it. So the system really is breaking things down into the tiny little bite-sized nuggets that you actually don't have resistance to doing and spreading them out over a timeline that is reasonable. This is a system. Could you use a software to do that? Yes. Do I even suggest softwares? And do in the Profitable Nutritionist program, do we even talk about softwares to do that? Project management softwares? Absolutely. Do I use those? Yes. Are they necessary? Actually, no. I think for most people, you could just do this in Google Calendar, do it in the free software you're already using, and implement these strategies into the systems that you already have. It's like a system doesn't have to be a huge undertaking to think, oh, well, when do I have the time to upgrade a complete software in my business? Never. Again, this is one of those big tasks that you'll put off indefinitely because it's so huge and you know that it's going to take a bunch of time. So don't do that. Just better leverage the systems that you have. Another example, always have the link to something that you're going to need inside wherever it is that you're doing something first. So like I didn't say that well, but just follow the bouncy ball here. So if I'm going to a call with a client, for example, in Google Calendar, where it's telling me that at noon I have a call with a client, I also better have the Zoom link inside that Google Calendar right there to click the link to the thing. I'm looking at my Google Calendar, I'm making sure I have the right time. It's giving me a notification 10 minutes beforehand. The link better be in there. Now, I also put inside that link the folder to that client's client folder where I'm also going to go file notes afterwards, or where I'm going to also have some sort of follow-up. That's also linked in there. It's all in one place. I don't have to go find it, because if I have to think to myself, where is that link? And I have to go search and I have to go find it, and it's not bookmarked, and like that's really annoying. And then I have to go start a new Google Doc, and then I have to take notes, and then I have to do a follow-up email. All of that is independent thought that I have to remember and think of after I have a meeting with a client, for example. And I'm using an example that a lot of my clients use, so this hopefully lands for you. If that is something that you have to remember every single time, that takes up a lot of bandwidth and a lot of brain space. And then if you have to go execute it and start from scratch every time with what did I need to do in what order and where are those things housed and what is that exact protocol again, that takes up so much of your brain space and it exhausts you. And then by the end of the day, you're just done. So the system here is to have a checklist that is the same checklist that you use every time that you create one time, that has it all in order with links as needed inside the Google Calendar if necessary, wherever that is going to be easy for you, so that you don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about what are the steps here? What are the things I'm forgetting to do? What is my normal follow-up with the client? Where are those things housed? Where are the links? Make it easy for yourself. These are the little micro systems that really need to happen in whatever you're already using. Maybe you do need to upgrade to a project management system. Maybe you're already using a project management system, but if everything isn't linked in the task where you need it to be, you're making it way harder than you need to for yourself to get things done. Like, just don't do that. Don't do that. That's really the whole point here. And that's what I've been coaching my clients on as well. It's like, understand why we put things off. Is it because we think that they're going to take too much time? Okay, well, how do we make them more efficient? How do we make it not take so much time? How do we break them into smaller tasks that aren't going to take that much time so we actually get them done and it'll go faster in the long run than waiting for this magical day when we have 8 hours to just do a whole thing, which is never going to happen. So let's not do that. So it's understanding where the resistance comes from. Is it, this is going to be so hard? Well, if it is, then what would make it not so hard? You have to ask yourself, like, what is actually hard here? What is actually taking so much time here? And when you answer those smaller questions, then you will have your to-do list of what can I solve? How can I make this more efficient? How can I create an SOP for myself that I don't have to think so hard next time, or that everything's all in one place? And then where do I put that so that I always know where it is? These are the systems that you build out over time. It's not a magical project management software. And I guess the whole reason that I'm even talking about this is because I see people that invest in project management softwares and invest a lot of time in setting them up, but they still don't do these basic things. So they don't use the software. They don't maximize the capability of it. It doesn't actually save them time because they haven't answered the question, what is hard about this task in the first place? Where am I wasting time with this in the first place? Where is my brain saying, nope, not today? And why? Like, actually answer that question and then you'll know what to fix. Secondary to using this for your business, which I certainly hope you do, I want you to think about this for your clients as well, because I want you to set up systems for your clients, but answering the same question. Where is it hard for them? And you might not know the answer to that, so you're going to have to actually ask them. When they tell you, oh, I didn't get that thing done, or I didn't do that, or that was overwhelming, say, okay, I would love to drill into that with you. What part of it specifically? I want to figure out if there's different ways I could make this easier for you or make it more convenient. So talk to me about that. What part of it is blank, hard, confusing, inefficient, taking a lot of time? Like, insert whatever objection is here, go 5 layers deeper. What part about that? What would make it easier? Like, what would make you not resist doing that? What would blah, blah, blah. You know what to say depending on what they're saying, but drill into it and actually get the answers to those questions, then go execute on that and make a system around it. System is the word of the video. System, but it's not some magical, mystical thing that someone else has already created that you can plug into. You need to make your own system. You need to answer these questions for you and for your clients, and then make the system. Make whatever you're already using into a better system for you now. And then should you choose to upgrade to something software-wise, which there are so many great options available, you'll be able to better leverage that and do it. Or if you're already using a project management system right now and you're like, yeah, I don't even use that because it's not working for me. Why? Because you haven't answered those questions about what part of it isn't working. A little aside with this is I think as business owners, a lot of us are really visionary and we are very big picture oriented, and we can neglect the systems and we can neglect the details. And that's a problem. So we need to create little manipulations of our own brain like this, obviously, but also surround ourselves with people who are the detail-oriented ones. And so I say this to anybody who's thinking about hiring a team member at any point in the near future, or already has, maybe evaluate, how do I want to say this? Are the hires that you're making or thinking about making going to fill a gap for you and be detail people if you aren't that person? Because if you hire another one of you, This is just the blind leading the blind. This is just, you're going to waste so much time and be so inefficient. So I would always suggest, if you are like me and you are a visionary and you're a big picture and you go 100 miles an hour and have all of the ideas, but when it comes to actually finishing the execution, if left to my own devices, I would have a lot of half-started projects and not finished. Ask my husband. He's a good finisher, which is a good alignment in my personal life. But also, I have people in my company that are the finishers, that are the detail people, that see to that. Because if I had a bunch of people working with me that were like me, we wouldn't get anything done. So just saying, we can fill these gaps with systems that we create for ourselves. We can fill these gaps with people that help us adhere to the systems, because another thing that I'm not so great at is following the systems that I make for myself. But when there's other people that are involved, I'm better at that. So, setting ourselves up for success to have people around us that excel in other areas, like the details, the fine print, the finishing of things, the bringing it all to fruition and making sure that it's working effectively. It boggles my mind that there are those people, because I just loathe that so much. But there are, and they're so good, and they make my life so much better. So if this is landing with you, just know you got to find that person for yourself as well. So let's land the plane here. If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel inefficient, if you feel like you wish you had more systems in your business or you had more time in your business, it's probably because you are just doing the same repetitive tasks over and over, but you're starting from scratch each time. And you could very easily plug in some better strategies into what you're already using so that you use it better. So you are more effective in the time that you're spending. So use whatever you have, but answer the question, why am I getting stuck here? Why do I not just jump in and get this done? Because I know something about you. If you're watching this video still, you're like me. You are an action taker. You don't have a problem getting things done. What you have a problem with is wasting time. And so your brain tells you, oh, we're not going to do that right now. That's a waste of time. That's going to take too long. That's going to be too hard. There's something else that's a better use of time right now. And so we take that ambition and that drive and we use it against ourselves to actually slow down long enough to make a repeatable system that we can use that'll save us a lot of time in the future. Ask me how I know this. I'm so guilty right there with you. Again, why I wanted to do a little front porch reflecting with you and talk about systems today. So do that. Figure out what is it that you're resisting in any task that you do resist. What is it that could make it more efficient and more effective for you? And then what do you need to set up so you don't have to think so much in the future? You don't have to remember where things are. You don't have to go find links. You don't have to go find passwords. You don't have to remember a 10-step process that you do after a task that you do every single week. Let's just have a checklist with links. Let's make this so much easier and not use any brain power. Then, of course, you turn around and do the same thing for your clients. You also might be really good at doing this for your clients and terrible at doing it for yourself, which is an interesting reflection. So this probably surprised you that when you tuned into this video, I didn't say this is the exact project management system that you need to solve all your problems. But if you're a student in the Profitable Nutritionist program, or if you're thinking about joining, you should know that that's never the solution. The solution is always, let's look in our brain first about why we have the resistance. Let's solve that. And then let's implement the sexy software solution and actually use it. Speaking of TPN, this is the kind of stuff that we talk about every single week in our Q&A calls, in our coaching calls, in the curriculum, in the program. We do have a lot of cheats for you, okay? We do have a lot of pre-built systems that we give you, but we also are always going to talk about why do we sabotage these systems and where does that show up for your clients as well? Because it for sure does. So if that interests you, if this is your jam of like, oh yeah, the strategy along with the mindset to actually implement it and make it sustainable, you are going to love everything that we do in the program. Fly. That's what happens when we're outside. And we would love to welcome you in. So link in the description. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can go there. If you are listening to the podcast episode, go to theprofitablenutritionist.com/join. You will get all of the program details, including a link to join or to book a short call where we can go through your situation and discuss if it would be a good next step for you. All right, my friend, go make a system.